Since the beginning of time, evil has been a powerful force in human history. It manifests in wars, tragedies, and acts of cruelty that challenge our understanding. But how did evil begin? Where is its origin? The answer may lie in one of the oldest and darkest stories in the Bible, the story of Cain and Abel. To understand the depth of this story, we need to go back to the beginning. According to the book of Genesis, Cain and Abel were the first sons of Adam and Eve, born after their expulsion from the Garden of Eden. They represent the first generation of humans to deal with the consequences of original sin, the fall. The narrative begins with the two brothers presenting offerings to God. Abel, a shepherd, offers the best of his flock, while Cain, a farmer, brings fruits of the earth. God accepts Abel's offering, but rejects Cain's. The rejection stirs in Cain a deep feeling of envy and anger which culminates in the first murder in human history. Cain kills his brother Abel. After the crime, God confronts Cain with a haunting question. "Where is Abel, your brother?" Cain responds with a phrase that echoes to this day. "Am I my brother's keeper?" As a consequence, Cain is cursed to wander the earth, forever marked as a fugitive. This story is not just an account of fratricide. It represents the first manifestation of sin after the fall. While Adam and Eve introduced sin into the world, Cain and Abel show how it spreads and intensifies. Cain's envy, anger, and violence are reflections of the fallen human nature, which struggles against temptation and selfishness. But why did Cain, the first son of Adam and Eve, commit the first murder? What does this story tell us about human nature and our propensity for evil? To answer these questions, we need to go beyond the biblical text and explore the theological and philosophical layers of this narrative. Cain is often seen as the first example of someone who succumbed to sin in an extreme way. His envy, anger, and ultimately his act of violence are clear manifestations of fallen human nature. But why did he act this way? The answer may lie in the rejection he felt. When God accepted Abel's offering and rejected his, Cain was consumed by a deep sense of injustice and resentment. Cain's envy was not just a passing jealousy, it was a profound and destructive emotion. The Bible tells us that sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. Genesis 4:7. God warned Cain, but he chose to give in to anger. This moment is crucial because it shows that sin is not just an external force, but an internal choice. After the murder, Cain is cursed to wander the earth as a fugitive. This curse is not just a punishment. It is a symbol of the separation that sin causes. Cain, who was once a farmer tied to the land, is now condemned to be a nomad, rootless and without peace. Cain's curse represents the alienation that sin brings, both from God and from others. Why did God allow Cain to commit such an act? This question challenges our understanding of divine justice. Some theologians argue that God gave Cain the freedom to choose, even knowing he might choose evil. Others see the story as a lesson about the consequences of sin and the importance of repentance. The story of Cain and Abel is not isolated. It echoes in other biblical narratives such as the flood, where human wickedness reaches a critical point, and the Tower of Babel, where human arrogance is confronted. These stories show that sin is a constant in human history, but they also show that God always offers a path to redemption. The story of Cain reminds us that we all carry within us the capacity for both good and evil. Like Cain, we face daily choices that can lead us to light or darkness. Envy, anger, and resentment are universal feelings, but how we deal with them defines who we are. But this story is not just a reflection on the past. It has profound implications for the modern world. Look around you. The Holocaust, one of the darkest events in human history, was marked by systematic and inhumane evil. World wars, genocides, and acts of terrorism continue to haunt our society. These events are not just historical tragedies. They are modern manifestations of the same evil Cain chose to embrace. Yet evil is not limited to grand historical events. It is present in our daily lives, in the corruption that undermines institutions, in the violence that destroys communities, and in the inequality that divides societies. Cain's envy, for example, can be seen in the toxic competitiveness that fuels personal and professional conflicts. The anger that consumed him echoes in the hate speech that proliferates on social media. And you? Have you ever felt like Cain, overwhelmed by feelings of envy, anger, or resentment? Perhaps we haven't committed murder, but how often have we allowed negative emotions to guide our actions? The story of Cain challenges us to reflect on our own choices and how they impact the world around us. But there is hope. The Bible does not leave us only with Cain's curse. It also offers paths to redemption. Jesus, for example, taught the importance of forgiveness and love for one's neighbor, even in the face of injustice. The story of Cain reminds us that while evil is a reality, we have the capacity to choose good. In a world marked by evil, the story of Cain and Abel invites us to be agents of change. We can choose to overcome envy with gratitude, anger with compassion, and violence with peace. Cain's curse does not have to be our destiny. Throughout this video, we have explored the story of Cain and Abel in a new light. We have seen how this ancient narrative helps us understand the origin of evil, its manifestation in human history, and its presence in the modern world. But more than that, we have learned that Cain's story is not just about curse, it is also about choice. Cain showed us how envy, anger, and resentment can lead to devastating consequences. His curse is a powerful reminder of the choices we make and the impact they have on our lives and the world around us. But the story also offers us hope. It challenges us to reflect on our actions and seek redemption, even amidst our failures. Cain's curse does not have to be our destiny. We can choose to overcome evil with good, violence with peace, and hatred with love. The story of Cain and Abel reminds us that while sin is a reality, we have the power to choose a different path. And you? What does this story mean for your life? How can you apply these lessons in your daily choices? If this video made you reflect, I want to invite you to take the next step. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment sharing which lesson impacted you the most, and let's continue this journey together. I'll read every comment and respond personally. Evil may have begun with Cain, but the choice of how to deal with it is still in our hands. The story of Cain and Abel teaches us that while sin is a reality, we have the power to choose a different path, a path of love, forgiveness, and reconciliation. May this ancient narrative inspire you to reflect on your choices and seek the light even in the midst of darkness.